First time I heard about Blanche was, I guess I was around 7 years old. My mother had mentioned that I had a great aunt that lived in San Antonio and had been a movie star at one time in silent films. And she was still very, very attached to her. And so we were going to go for the first time and go to San Antonio and meet Blanche. Well, I had no idea after seeing people on the screen, which was the 1940s at this time. I was used to big, beautiful women in bathing suits and pinup shots and musicals with Betty Grable. I didn't exactly know what I was going to see from the 1920s. So, and nothing was really around that I could refer to. So, mother says, "Oh, let's just go and meet her. You'll love her. She's fun. She lives on her own property with a cactus garden all around it in a log cabin house painted gold." So, off we went to San Antonio a few weeks later. My dad, my mother, and my brother, and I have photographs of this reunion. Meeting her was quite a surprise. She didn't look like any movie star I had ever seen. And of course, she was much older then, but you could tell she had an air about her of an actress. She was very dramatic, and she was a painter, and she was painting ties and selling them to different stores that would sell them on to the public of all Texas objects like cactuses and etc. And I was very, very interested in her from the business point of view, how she was managing to make a living and and on her art, and was still doing it, but she still talked and dreamed of the great days when she was on the silent screen. Blanche and I connected very, very solidly on this first meeting. One of the highlights of Blanche's career, of course, was doing a film with Babe Ruth. She talked about it a lot and how much she liked him and how kind he was to her. He already being an icon and she being a young actress coming into films. They worked really well together, from what I understand, and um, they corresponded in years past the time that they had worked together. All I can say is this was a real exciting time for her because everybody knew Babe Ruth, and of course, back home in Texas, this was a big, jewel in her crown, I guess you'd call it, of achievement, just being in a film with him. When Blanche was a child, she lived entirely in a dream world of a little girl who was growing up in San Antonio, Texas, in the 1919s, I'll say it. Um, World War One was coming at that time, and there's a lot of change going on in America. One of the biggest changes in America was, of course, motion pictures. And it was the newest art form that caught Blanche's eye because she can now go to the theater and see all her dolls and herself and her dreams all put into motion. Um, and so one day, as she was growing up in San Antonio and becoming quite a beautiful young woman, she got a fan magazine and wrote off and sent a picture of herself to the people who were looking for a new star campaign. And we later found out that it was Cecil B. DeMille and Mary Pickford. The reason for the letter was Mary Pickford had decided as her film career went on to take a break and or else maybe quit pictures, and so they were going to look for a replacement. Blanche had all these pictures taken and sent it off and didn't think much about it and went on about her daily dreams and her daily stories as usual. One day, a letter arrived from Hollywood, or from New York, I think the letter came from, because then they were making a lot of pictures in New York. Um, and she opened it up, and she had won. They wanted her. And then the phone calls started and everything else. And of course, she got to talk to Cecil B. DeMille and Mary Pickford and all the people that were arranging this. So it really was a real deal and not something that was a sham. It was in a picture magazine. So she walks into her parents sitting at the breakfast table in her house, and she said, "I'm going to be in pictures." And they looked at her and just thought it was another one of her dream worlds that she was going to make out like she was a movie star or something. She says, "No, no, I mean really, I'm going to be in pictures. Here's a letter I just got from Mr. DeMille, and I want to do this." So they looked at her, and then they looked at the letter and found out that it was real. She was going to go to Hollywood, only she had to do it with her parents' consent. So her parents were in shock right now, and for days and days and days, I think they were in shock. And Blanche said, "Okay, it's this. This is what I want. This is what I want in my life." And they all said, "Okay, you can do it. What are we going to do? You're going to disown us if we don't let you do it." So off to New York they went to see about getting her into pictures. When I think about Blanche, and I often do still, I thought if I ever wrote a book or ever did anything that had to do with her life, I would probably name it The Ballad of Blanche McGarity, because it sounds like one of her picture titles. And I think she would like that. And I think that it fits in with the era of the highlights and all the glamour of her life when she was young, and all these wonderful things were happening to her.